How much television do you watch? Good evening, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Silver Dad Knows. Remember, always live with no edits. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button now, as you're going to like what I'm about to say. Yes, just to begin this evening, I am presenting right here a 2022 Cook Islands piece. And very elegant coin. It actually reminds me of Treasure Island. I'm sure many of you have read the book or even heard of the book at least. But yes, almost even looks like a golf ball. Right here, this is the obverse. And yes, we have a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. The design featured on Cook Islands coins is the 4th generation effigy from Commonwealth currency. Created in 1998 by the famous Ian Rank Broadley, this effigy shows the Queen in right profile relief wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara on her head. The magic, of course. The reverse side features a design of the HMS Bounty as it appeared after its initial construction. The HMS Bounty was a 3-masted, full-rigged sailing vessel that was relatively small for its era, displacing 215 tons in the water. And what's real nice is currently you can still find these coins as low as 41 to 42 bucks with free shipping. Not bad. I would say it would be a challenging piece to get at your local coin shop. So chances are, if you do really like the piece, you would be better off getting it online. And of course, if you're buying in bulk, I imagine you could probably get it as low as $38, $39 per ounce with free shipping, assuming you're paying, a couple $100 or more. And real quick, folks, before I continue, I do want to give a quick shout out, and this is to my loyal subscriber, MJ Baker 40. Here's how this will play out and why. Treasuries are assets in disguise. They deliver loss of purchasing power. Anyone who knows what an asset is knows this. Thus, precious metals are the true store of value. The Federal Reserve is going to be the majority and last holder of junk bonds, aka known as U.S. Treasuries, notes, and bills. Paper currencies will fail, and so will CBDCs and stable coins. Anything digital will fail. Scam Street is trying to keep sellers of stocks at bay. They push stocks up to keep you in, but they are secretly acquiring precious physical gold and silver. The system is designed to allow useless people like politicians and banksters to acquire stuff. Whatever stuff is using funny money. In a barter system, what does a politician have to offer? Fiat banks aren't needed in a barter system. This is why silver, gold, copper, nickel, platinum, and various other metals are so important to have. It's more of a slow death because they need time to get everyone's 401k fiat. Debt to gap ratio of about 250% should pretty much make fiat non-functional. Wow, very enlightening comment right there coming from my loyal subscriber, MJ Baker 40. And that's one of the reasons why I'm shouting you out, because at the end of the day, you go back to why it's essential to have precious metals, specifically silver and gold, something that's been traded since the beginning of time, going back to the biblical days up until now. And it's phenomenal the way silver has fluctuated. Right now the ratio's like 100 to 1, 101 to 1, 102 to 1. I mean, it's crazy. And if you know history, you see history so many times, we've seen it be 80 to 1. In fact, we've seen it be 40 to 1. So in truth, we all know that silver is outrageously undervalued. irresponsibly undervalued. And literally, once this thing pops off, it's going to get crazy. And people are going to be kicking themselves in the butt that they never got in while they could. They're going to be like, why the heck didn't I buy silver for 40, 45 bucks? What the heck was wrong with me? I had all the money to do so. Now I can't afford to get it. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. I mean, and it's not a matter of if, but when. As global financial systems unravel, the chaos will dominate headlines. News outlets will fixate on market crashes, bank failures, inflation spikes, and political instability. The narrative will be crafted to incite fear and confusion. They do this all the time. And they've done it so many times in the past, you know. They're inciting fear and confusion, you know. An economic apocalypse playing out in real time. But while the world is glued to their screens, panicked and uncertain, silver will be quietly staging one of the most explosive moves in modern history. You know, people are not going to see it coming. And it's so sad because so many people still don't see it coming. And it's like, wake up, people, wake up. I mean, the obvious is already happening. Mainstream media, it ignores silver, you know, on a grand scale, especially here in the West, dismissing it as a relic of you know, it's poor man's gold. This neglect is precisely what makes silver such a strategic play. Unlike stocks or fiat currency, silver is not dependent on central bank manipulation. It's a finite, tangible asset with industrial demand. And as confidence in the system fades, silver's true value will begin to emerge outside the media spotlight. Because in truth, you don't want to be part of the spectacle. You want to have been one of those people where they're like, holy moly, you were seriously a stacker back then? You know, you're seriously sitting on all this money now because you were doing what 99% of the population wasn't, which is why it's explosive for you and you're not, you know, people are going to be envious of you. When trust in the dollar erodes and paper assets fail to protect wealth, smart money will rotate into hard assets. That's what we're seeing, you know? It's the same cycle again and again. And we're doing ourselves a service because we have followed history and we understand this is the greatest wealth transfer ever. And if you're playing your cards right, which you have every opportunity still to do so, you're going to come out of this like a champion. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal for you, your children, your grandchildren, your legacy. Gold will get most of the attention, but silver, being more volatile and scarce in the above ground supply, it's going to outperform. It's both a monetary metal and an industrial necessity used in solar panels, electric vehicles, and medical devices. As economic systems break down, silver will benefit from both fear and function. The average person will be blindsided. You know, that's why I'm saying 99% of people, they're going to be blindsided. Even baby stackers, they're going to be like, whoa, I should have bought way more. They'll be watching cable news reports about emergency Fed interventions, international bank runs, political gridlock, while stackers quietly smile, watching their ounces multiply in value. This won't be some sound, obvious moment. There will be no loud bell ringing when the silver's just taken off. It's going to be just like, what the heck? Really? It's kind of like what happened with gold. Just boom, boom. It'll happen gradually, then suddenly. And by the time the average person realizes, it's going to be far too expensive to catch up. The exact same thing we saw happen with gold. Silver's explosion, it's not just going to be about price. It's going to be about purchasing power. Because as we know, the dollar weakens. And what silver can buy, will increase dramatically. 1 ounce may one day buy groceries for a week, where it can fill up your entire car and then some. And it's not about making a quick profit. It's about wealth preservation and future security when the system can no longer be trusted. And we're very close. In the end, the televised collapse will serve as a distraction for the masses, like always, right? We're not part of the masses. We're not trendies, So for those who saw the writing on the wall and stacked silver patiently, the explosion, it's going to be quiet, personal, and life-changing. While the world panics, silver stackers, we're going to be prepared. But folks, as always, thank you so much for joining us for another evening of Silver Dad Knows. God bless you, God bless your household, and God bless America.